Hello, everyone. Welcome to EWIT Diamond Podcast. I'm Sridevi Rai, and I'm your host for today. If you're listening to us in an audio platform, please be sure to follow us. And if you're watching us on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to our channel. Our guest today is Claudia Chandra, and I'm really excited to be her host. Hi, Claudia.
Hi, Sri. How are you?
Very good. How is your Friday going?
Not too bad.
Just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Originally I came from Indonesia. I came to the US when I was 10 years old, settled in San Francisco. Have not been outside of San Francisco before, except, in terms of, really living in an area. After moving to the US, the only time I was outside of San Francisco was in my first job, which was in Chicago at Motorola. And it was too cold for me. So I went back to San Francisco. But now, Honeywell took me to a different place, which is a little warmer, actually, in Houston. That's where I am actually today. I love the arts, any kind of arts, classical music, opera. I'm actually a classical pianist since I was three and a half years old. I don't really have that much time to practice. So it's
that's so lovely. Like there is a creative side to you, especially playing musical instrument. But Claudia, it's what caught my attention is you moved here at a very young age. You were 10 years old, you said, when you moved from Indonesia. How is that transition? Like, talk to us a little bit about. I'm curious to learn about you moving here to a new country. And 10 years is still very young, but old enough to kind of understand the differences in cultures and coming to a new country and like being able to adapt.
I think adapting is actually easier when you are younger, right? The younger you are, this easier it is to adapt. But yeah, like you said, 10 is somewhere in between. So I still remember a lot, and I still keep in touch actually with some of my elementary school friends. And in Indonesia, you still remember what the culture was like. In terms of adapting, I learned English before I came, right? I had the prep of being an English tutor every evening to prep for the move. But still, it is quite different in the first 6 months. But it did take me about 6 months to ramp up in terms of being fluent in English and being able to read easily and all of that. But that's probably faster than if I were to come as an adult, right?
It is so inspiring, especially for the young adults, to hear these stories and hear the struggles that, some of these extraordinary women have taken in their life and achieved the success that we see in you. And speaking of success, being the chief product officer right now, especially in the industrial automation and software market. I want to kind of learn a little bit more about your professional journey as well. I know you spoke a little bit earlier overall about your experience, but want to hear more about application of AI and all the latest and the greatest in the industrial automation software market.
There's definitely a lot of opportunities for applying AI in industrial automation, especially in the areas of things like advanced process control, marrying AI, ML, and database capabilities with first principles to provide that closed loop control. And then asset performance management, doing predictive maintenance versus reactive maintenance, or even condition-based maintenance. So advancing in that area. There's also a lot of opportunities in terms of designing digital twins as a shadow to the real plant operations, actually informing the plant operations and looping that back in terms of adjusting how processes are designed and how we can potentially improve sustainability and all of that within a plant. So there's a lot of potential in terms of improving efficiencies, helping the operators and process engineers, as well as the maintenance engineers, to be a lot more efficient using things like Gen AI to support shift transitions, as well as summarizing what has been happening in the plant, during the previous shifts. There's a lot that can be done there.
As much as you say that there is a lot of potential, it also sounds like it comes with a lot of challenges and complications that as you go along. It definitely has its challenges, right? And speaking of challenges, I want to know, what are some of the unique challenges that you've faced in innovation in this space, and
The space, yeah.
yes, and how have you tried to navigate those challenges?
Yeah, as you can probably imagine, right, this domain has a lot of expertise, domain knowledge within the area, really understanding how different assets perform, how processes are designed. So all of that requires a deep domain expertise and requires a lot of specific data to train the AI ML to perform at what you would expect. So that's the difference from regular AI ML or Gen AI applications within the consumer market, for example, and other areas where there's a lot more available data, where the data is not dependent on domain expertise, right? And also the expertise of people who have been in the field for 20, 30 years, that type of knowledge. So that's the difference in applying AI to this space.
Like you said, like when you're facing such challenges, somewhere along the lines we've learned how to navigate through these challenges, and we've probably learned from the people that we see around, and some of us have great mentors. So, and speaking of mentors, I'm sure you've had mentors, you've had people that have inspired you, and a support system that usually plays a pretty crucial role in our development and career advancement and all of that stuff. Do you want to highlight any of those mentors that have been role models that have influenced your journey? They play such an important role in our career growth and just our personal life even.
Yes, definitely. Well, firstly, one that stood out for me was early on in my career when I transitioned into product management, and I had a really impactful mentor who was a woman who pointed me in the right direction in terms of getting training in that space, right? Which really helped me to being a product leader. Unfortunately, I only had her mentorship for a very short period of time because there was a lot of changes in the organization. But after that, I've had a lot of other mentors as well who were my direct manager, or even those that were not directly my managers and who reached out to me, who were introduced to me to as a mentor, as a coach, and that those have been very helpful as well in terms of navigating different organizations, as well as maturing how I think about being a leader.
That's so amazing, and it's also so important to have people like that watch our back, that have helped us grow. And in a way, we want to give back to the future generation. We want to be able to mentor the younger generation, and I'm sure you see younger generation in workplace too, right? Like we have the so-called Gen Zs and millennials coming and taking over and taking on leadership roles. I always feel like there's so much we can learn from them, and we can give
Yes. Yes, definitely. And I think, having gone through the twists and turns, the journey of a career also helps to bring it forward in terms of also, mentoring the future generations, right? So I feel like I have a better understanding of what they're going through after what I have gone through. So that has been helpful as well.
Oh yeah, and we always feel their pain, and we always say like, we've been there, we've done that, and if we can help you not make those mistakes, then we're
Exactly.
more than happy to give you that guidance.
Yeah, and as they're going through frustrations or what have you, because we have gone through those frustrations, hopefully we can help them through that.
For sure, for sure. And speaking of advice in younger generation, what is a piece of advice you would offer to our younger women aspiring to pursue careers in technology, particularly to those that may feel hesitant due to the gender-related barriers or stereotypes?
Some of the advice that I would give is, firstly, don't be afraid of asking questions. And, sometimes people hesitate about asking questions because it might show that they don't know, a specific area. But ultimately, these questions actually help to foster additional thinking, right? And I'm sure others may have the same questions. So don't be afraid of asking questions and being analytical about the things that you are doing. Don't be afraid about showing your confidence in whatever you believe in.
100%. And showing the confidence also makes me think about personal branding, right? We tend to like hold back on advocating for ourselves. We tend to hold back on like talking about what we've achieved and our accomplishments. There's a fear, hesitation, which also ties into like just being able to be confident in asking questions. We always hold ourselves back, especially if you're in a room full of very experienced people. And sometimes if there are men, that can be even more challenging or like intimidating, right?
Yes. And the thing is, every one of us have something to learn from others. So don't be afraid about showing what you know and what and really standing up for what you believe in.
Yeah, you said it perfectly well. We all have something to learn. I mean, there's learning is something that's never ending. So we're learning from others, we're giving back what we know, our experience. So if we can all kind of come to that understanding and be able to give and take, I think we'll be in a much better place.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Claudia, it was a pleasure chatting with you and learning more about you. And, kudos to you for making the huge leap of coming here and preparing yourself and learning the language, all of that. I can imagine how difficult that can be. So I'm so inspired by your story and your achievements and your career growth. And I'm sure everyone listening today will be inspired. And if we can have even a handful of younger kids to listen to this and feel like I can do it too, I think we've done what we should be doing.
Well, thank you, Sri, for having me. It's been a pleasure as well in terms of chatting with you.